There is a season of your life that almost nobody teaches you how to survive. It is not the season where everything is falling apart in a dramatic way. It is quieter than that. It is the season where you are doing the work, but nothing seems to be moving. No applause, no visible transformation, no big sign that says you are on the right path. And because nothing is happening on the surface, you start asking the question that can break a person if they answer it too early. What if this is not working? But here is the part most people miss. Nature hides its most important work underground. Seeds do not look successful when they are buried. Roots do not get standing ovations. A foundation does not look like a house. And the human mind works the same way. Some of the most important changes in you happen long before your life gives proof. So if you're in a chapter where nobody is clapping yet, this is not a sign to stop. It may be the first real evidence that you are finally building something deeper than attention. Think about a bamboo forest. For years, certain bamboo species can seem almost still above the soil, while the root system spreads and strengthens underground. Then, when the structure is ready, the visible growth can be sudden and almost unbelievable. The lesson is not that life magically rewards waiting. The lesson is that some kinds of growth are invisible, until the system can hold the weight of what is coming. And this matters because most people quit during the invisible part. They don't quit because they are weak. They quit because the brain is built to look for feedback. When you touch something hot, pain teaches you fast. When you post something and people like it, attention teaches you fast. But when you practice, save money, study, train, heal, or rebuild yourself, the feedback can be painfully slow. Psychologists call one part of this delayed reinforcement. The reward comes after the effort, not right beside it. And delayed rewards are hard for the nervous system because your mind keeps asking, is this worth the energy? That is why the season nobody claps is so dangerous. Not because nothing is happening, but because your brain may interpret silence as failure. Imagine a person learning to play piano in an empty room. For weeks, the sound is clumsy. The timing is off. Their fingers do not obey. If they judged the future by the first month, they would quit before music ever appeared. But the nervous system is adapting. Tiny pathways are being strengthened. What looks like repetition from the outside is construction on the inside. The same thing happens when you change your life. The first workouts do not look like strength. The first pages do not look like a book. The first saved dollars do not look like freedom. The first calm reaction after years of anger may not look like healing. But it is all evidence. Small evidence, yes. Quiet evidence, yes. But evidence. The progress principle studied by Teresa Amabile and Stephen Kramer points to something surprisingly powerful. Small wins can create meaningful motivation. Not giant victories, not public praise, small progress and meaningful work. The danger is that we often ignore small wins because they do not feel impressive enough to post. But your life is not built by what is impressive. It is built by what is repeated. There is a moment in every meaningful climb where the mountain stops feeling inspiring and starts feeling rude. The view disappears, the air gets thinner, the path becomes rocks, then mud, then a question. You begin to understand why most people prefer the idea of growth more than the actual process of it, because growth has a cost. It asks you to become someone before anyone treats you like that person. It asks you to train before you look strong. It asks you to write before you sound clear. It asks you to lead yourself before anybody follows. This is where many people make a quiet mistake. They wait to feel confident before acting.
But confidence is often not the cause of action. It is the receipt from action. You do the difficult thing, survive it, and your mind updates the story it has about you. That update may be tiny at first. One more walk, one more honest conversation, one more page, one more hour of practice when you could have escaped into distraction. But each action casts a vote for the identity you are building. And here is the strange part. When you start becoming different, your old life may fight back. Not because it is evil, but because familiar things feel safe to the brain. Even pain can become familiar. Even limitation can become a home address. So when you begin to outgrow the old pattern, discomfort does not always mean danger. Sometimes discomfort means the old version of you is losing its authority. That is why the season nobody claps can feel lonely.
You are not just working toward a goal. You are negotiating with an older identity that wants to keep everything predictable. History is full of people who had to keep going while the scoreboard looked embarrassing. Abraham Lincoln lost elections, failed in business, endured personal grief, and faced years of public criticism before becoming the figure history remembers. We like to compress his life into a monument, but monuments hide the middle. They hide the waiting, the humiliation, the private endurance. And that is what we do with almost everyone we admire. We see the stage, not the empty room. We see the medal, not the morning nobody wanted to wake up. We see the breakthrough, not the 1,000 ordinary repetitions that made the breakthrough possible. So the question is not, are people clapping yet? The better question is, am I becoming harder to discourage? Because that is a kind of strength people cannot see at first. It is built when you continue without proof. It is built when you protect your standards on days that give you no emotional reward. It is built when you stop confusing quiet with pointless. Picture a lighthouse in a storm. It does not ask the waves for permission to shine. It does not need the night to understand its purpose. It keeps turning because that is what it was built to do. You need a part of you like that, a part that keeps a promise even when your mood changes, a part that can work without constant evidence, a part that understands that applause is a terrible foundation because it disappears exactly when life gets difficult. This does not mean you never rest. Rest is part of construction. Even athletes recover. Even fields lie fallow. Even the ocean pulls back before it returns with force. But rest is different from quitting. Rest restores the person who is still committed. Quitting abandons the person you are becoming. If you are tired, breathe. If you are discouraged, lower the step, but do not delete the direction. If the mountain feels too large, stop staring at the summit and make the next 10 feet honest. Because one day, the work that looked invisible will start speaking for you. The discipline nobody saw will become the confidence people notice. The choices that felt small will become a life that feels different to stand inside. And when that day comes, be careful. Do not become addicted to the clapping. Remember where the real change happened. It happened in the quiet. It happened when no one was watching. It happened when you were tempted to call the seed dead because you could not see the roots. In the last journey, we talked about how your greatest achievement can become a cage if you stop growing after it. This is the next door. Learning to build before the world gives you permission. And maybe the next chapter is even harder, because after you learn to survive silence, you have to learn how to move when fear starts sounding intelligent. But for today, take this with you. If nobody is clapping yet, keep building. Not for the applause, not to prove everyone wrong. Build because the person you are becoming deserves evidence that you did not abandon them in the quiet. The season nobody claps is not wasted time. It is where roots learn how to hold the future.